welcome to the current podcast. This is your producer Byron. We got Maury in the building. How you doing, brother?
We're doing real good right here. You
Man,
know
let me
what I'm
get you
saying?
real quick.
Right
Yeah,
here, we
man.
got the new setup, man. I feel somewhat satisfied with this. We got still a little couple kinks we got to work out here. Shout out to Highly Addictive. Shout out to Illustrious Minds right here.
Yep,
The homie
yep, yep.
Johnny.
You already know.
Yep. But we also have
Yo, I
Manny
got
in the building.
Manny in the
Hey, what
building.
up? What up? How's it going, guys?
Solo
This is
mode today.
amazing, man. Honestly, the way that Maury has set this up, highly addictive. Great studio, you guys. I gotta say, man, they're stepping up their game.
And shout out
It's
to
looking
Jeffrey
really
that's on the
good.
chat right now. Shout out to the homie Jeffrey. He was his birthday like last week. Just a quick shout out to Jeffrey right there. Thank you for always joining us on Sports Wave.
Birthday, brother.
But yeah, Manny, thank you as well. Highly Addictive is doing its thing right
Oh
here.
man, it's
Looks
amazing,
dope, bro. Right now, your shot, you have the Salvi flag behind you. You have Salvi
right?
behind you.
Man, that's where our roots are from, man.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I'm scared, man.
doing real good right here. But man, it's been a crazy week in sports. We had some things just to kind of give you guys a real cool, quick little preview of what we'll be talking about today, man. We had obviously the NBA season has came to an end.
For some teams,
just the season has came to an end.
yeah.
That's for all teams, regardless of they're going to the playoffs or not. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Lakers. We have UFC 273 happening this weekend. We had a couple of OGs, like not in UFC 273, but we'll talk about something else when I'm talking about OGs. We'll talk about soccer like we always do. But yeah, I want to start off with the OG thing I was going to talk about, and that's Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods doing his thing at the Masters.
And you got to remember that this is really something amazing because a few years ago he was in a terrible accident. And
I think it was last year.
Yeah, it could be last year. I mean, I'm remembering it as a few years ago, but I just think it was a terrible accident. A lot of people said that he would not be able to play again, that he had to retire after this, and to be able to hear the wonderful news that he's going to play another Masters again. That's really amazing. It shows you, the dedication, the recovery that he put into it, and him to be able to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, well, he did play. The Masters went down this weekend. I need to see exactly what his stats were, but just there was a lot of interaction between him and the younger players, which is a big thing that really that people gravitated towards was just seeing him and the younger generations mesh and kind of it's kind of when like Kobe was having his last couple games and he was having camaraderie with like what's his name, Jason Tatum, Andrew Wiggins, and all these other players. And I remember there was one where Andrew Wiggins got like a fadeaway on him, and he was like, "I learned it from you," type of thing. So it was that kind of atmosphere with Tiger Woods and the other the younger generation out there.
It's amazing.
That was one thing that happened.
It's amazing, when you have the knowledge, you can pass it on to someone else, and allow that knowledge to help that person. Which is something rare for some people to let that go.
Yeah, shout out to Eddie on the chat as well. My bad. I just want to shout that out. Just want to shout out to our listeners listening right now live on YouTube. And if you listen to on the podcast right now, like later on in the week, just check us out, man. Check out the YouTube as well. But another thing that's kind of on a tragic note is Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback that he was going to be a quarterback for the Steelers, right?
No, bro. He was the quarterback for the Steelers recently, but he was drafted. I forgot what round, but it was like early round.
Yeah, round one.
Recent years to the Washington back in the day Redskins or Washington, which is not the Washington team. But
no, they're the Commanders now.
Oh yeah, correct. I stand corrected. Commanders. But yeah, man, it's crazy because when I saw the news, I was like, who is this guy? I was like, what's going on? But then I started seeing another post.
Oh, back in the day, like before, not with this accident. You're saying you when you heard about him initially.
No, like I'm talking about what specifically when he passed away this past weekend. The news, I was like, who's this guy? But then started remembering. I was like, damn, that's so messed up. Born from '97. What?
Actually, it was the other way around, bro. I don't know if you said it this way, but the Redskins are the ones that drafted him.
Yeah, they drafted him,
and then he was about to play for the Steelers. He was like the backup for the Steelers.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Okay, I was just making sure because I thought I heard it the other way around.
That's because I guess I made it sound complicated because I said back in the day, knowing the Redskins.
When it was on like 2 years ago or a year ago. Yeah, it was in 2019, 2020 when he was playing with the Redskins, aka the Washington football team.
Commanders.
But what happened to him was basically that he got hit by a dump truck. I heard,
Yes.
which is a trash truck.
Yeah. Basically, someone picking up the trash. He was out for a walk.
Yeah.
And while he was out for a walk, he was ran over, basically.
Yeah. So right here it says he was struck by a dump truck Saturday morning as he tried to cross a freeway on foot in South Carolina. Oh, South Florida, my bad. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's where he was. He was in Florida when that happened.
Former Ohio State University star and Heisman Trophy finalist was he's only 24 years old. Damn, he's younger than me, man. That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks to hear someone, that still had a bright future, still could have done something, within the league. It's a big accomplishment to even make it to the league out of thousands of people, So it sucks to hear that something like that is happening, to a very young person like that.
Yeah, this is the highway that where it happened. Oh, this is a commercial right now. But basically, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to just get that detail that he was crossing a highway. Like at the same time, that like I don't want to say that nobody obviously deserves none of that, but it's like that you shouldn't be crossing a highway on foot. That's definitely something you don't want to be doing. Go to the wide shot, Byron. You guys see this in the wide shot real quick. That's this is the highway that they say he was going down, that he walked across. And we're talking about a highway. We're talking about cars going at top speeds and whatnot. They're not going, at no regular speed or anything like that.
Yeah, when he says highway, he means what we would refer to as a freeway.
Straight up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like someone trying to cross the 405 or someone trying to cross the 5 on foot. Yeah. And you would be like, that's wild. Why are you doing that?
And just to see this, the incident was pointed at 6:30 in the morning. It could have been pretty dark too. Right now, especially
so low visibility.
That the day doesn't start till later on in the day. So tragic for Dwayne Haskins. Really very young. Had a promising career. Again, a Heisman Trophy winner out of Ohio State. He was a Buckeye. Just very tragic news. But at the same time, it's like, what I'm glad in a sense to hear is that he wasn't like gunned down or something like that. Like I always think about what was that, Sean Taylor, right? And Byron.
Yeah, Sean Taylor. Safety? Yeah,
he was gunned down, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was that was a very tragic one. You know what I mean? Or when football players have had too many hits to the head and they take their own lives and type of things like that. But again, just shout out to the Dwayne Haskins family and just condolences at this time and prayers for their family. But we're gonna move on to also baseball starting off this week. We have the Dodgers. They opened up, I want to say, against the Reds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this past Friday, I believe.
Yeah, and just to bring them up,
but they're on the road.
Not the Dodgers, but this Sunday we had the Yankees versus the Red Sox, and that's always a classic to have. But as of right now, the Dodgers
they opened against the rookies. The Rockies.
Oh yeah, that's
the Rockies.
The Rockies. The
Colorado.
Rockies. Yeah. They won their first match against them, and then they lost their second match.
Dodgers are currently right now 1-2. Just nothing bad, it's only 3 games in.
Yeah, so out of the 3 games that they faced with them, they've won 2 of them.
It's a very early season. But at the same
time, and they play tomorrow against the Twins.
You gotta get on it. Yep, tomorrow against the Twins. They had opened up, against the Rockies. You're right. Thought it was against the
the Reds are the third team they're gonna play this season.
On Thursday. Yeah, so we'll definitely be catching some Dodger games this time around. So this thing. What do you guys? I mean, a lot of people have said that Trevor Bauer is no longer gonna pitch for the Dodgers, but at the same time,
that's a huge contract, man.
Not just that, but man, that's a good arm, man.
Yeah.
Pause.
I mean, he was acquitted. I mean, but it all depends on the optics. It was a pretty tragic way that his whole case went down. Technically he can still play, but it's up to the organization if they do want to keep him, And also, I don't know if the MLB has told the Dodgers anything of like, you guys can't play this guy, or if if he's let go from the Dodgers, like, will another team pick him up? That's the other question, or is he like blackballed from the MLB forever?
Yes, that's the one. I think that another
Yeah.
team will pick him up, and it might bite the Dodgers in the ass.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that contract is huge, man.
There was this other player. I think it was CC Sabathia or a different player. I can't remember, but I remember the Dodgers were gonna sign him, but he kind of had a similar situation where he had like some kind of assault case and whatnot. And when that happened, basically the Dodgers just didn't sign him, and he signed with the Cubs. And that season, the Cubs beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, and the Cubs ended up winning the World Series.
His contract is for $102 million in 3 years. That's how much his contract is, and that's guaranteed money. So I mean, they might stretch it out, if they let him go.
Yeah,
but it's still a lot of money, for the Dodgers to be throwing away.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, like I would say, hey, give the guy, at least one season, get something out of him. But I also like you have to question if the team would be okay with that. Can his teammates play with him? In spite of the situation that happened, and now knowing, hey, he was acquitted, so like play with him, because I think that's the most crucial thing, because you have to think about the chemistry that you need to build with your team.
Yeah,
and if they can't come with the chemistry with him, then yeah, you gotta let him go. It sucks, but it's a huge debt to have.
Yeah, Aroldis Chapman was the pitcher I was talking about that went with the Cubs instead. And like I said, it's gonna bite the Dodgers in the ass because he can easily go to a team that's within the National League.
But also, isn't it like supposed to be that he was good, but that was during the time where they were using that goo? Because a lot of people have also speculated that, right? If he can't use the goo now, is he still a good pitcher without the goo?
These pitchers find a way to still use that shit, man.
I mean, because that was the whole thing with him, that he was one of those pitchers.
That's one of those things that like those guys still get away with doing that type of stuff, so he'll be fine with that. But that's the baseball for right now. We have to also go now to UFC 273 which went down this Saturday. I want to start off with some of the prelims that stood out.
Okay.
But I want to stand out with first. They had 44, I think, years old Alexei Oleinik fighting, and this guy has, I think now he has a record for some of the most, I think, submissions. Not just submissions, but like he has 2 certain submissions that he does. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head right now, but this guy, man, this is one thing that I need to start getting. I feel like I need to start getting into betting, is because I had a feeling he was going to win, especially the way I had a feeling he was going to win, which is by submission, and that's exactly why it went down. And that was, let me see this because it's last week's. I think that was in the early prelims. Yeah, it was Alexei Oleinik versus Jared Vanderaa. Put it up on the screen for you, Manny. Right there for you.
Thank you.
This one right here, this fight, this guy. I know you've seen him fight.
Yeah.
So he got a submission. This guy, like I said, he's 44 years old, and it's just impressive to see him still competing in the UFC at a top thing. And then Joe Rogan was like, "How many more years do you want to fight?" He's like, I don't know. I mean, like I think 5 to 10 more years." And I'm like, "This was crazy."
Bro, going deep into his 50s.
So that was a good.
Hey
fight.
man, but that's the young spirit. That's that young mentality where it's like I still got a lot of time left,
Yeah, and that was in the early prelims. And then the actual preliminary card, Mike Mallet, he knocked out Mickey Gall.
That Rosenstrike was canceled, right?
Yeah, it got canceled. I think one of them got like some health issues.
Really? Because I was like, to me, it was interesting to see him in the prelims because I know usually he's in the main card.
I mean, with a card the way that it was kind of stacked this weekend, they have to spread it out to the preliminary cards, which is in my opinion, it's really no knock to nobody. But again,
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a knock, just because he is, kind of on the top,
Not really.
I mean, he's on the decline, definitely. He's had a couple losses, but at the same time, he's still a big name, within the heavyweight.
It's better to be on a prelim of a pay-per-view than of a fight night. So
for sure.
So it's all good.
I agree with you on that.
At the end of the day, the fight got canceled. But yeah, Mickey Gall got knocked out by Mike Mallet. Mike Mallet, this was, I believe, his UFC debut. He's a Canadian, and then after the fight, he said he's gonna donate his money to his 10K to this someone that he knew that his daughter had some sort of cancer, and he was basically asking the crowd to go to the GoFundMe page on his IG. While he was walking out, a lot of fans were actually giving him money, so he walked out with some money so that he can provide that little girl that has cancer. So that was the one thing out of Mike Mallet. The next fight that I want to talk about too was Raquel Pennington, that she had actually stepped in for Aspen Ladd. Aspen Ladd, her opponent, um, had to basically put out of the fight, and Raquel Pennington stepped into this fight, and Raquel Pennington brought it to her, man. She didn't give Aspen Ladd any room to breathe or anything like that. So she actually won the fight by decision, and she broke her hand in the middle of the fight and didn't let that hold her back. And the interesting fun fact is that she's actually the partner of Tisha Torres, and they fought on the same card this time around. And Raquel Pennington was just
one won and the other one lost. I wonder how that household was when they got home.
Raquel Pennington though was talking about how like she was basically she was training and she stayed ready so that she didn't have to get ready. And I think this is her 4th win now, and she wants to basically go for the title. But right now, we also know that the title right now is going to go under the tough competition with the two, Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes, as the coaches.
Do you think that the loss was on purpose just to build that up?
It's possible, but at the end of the day, you got. This isn't the WWE. You got beat fair and square, and that's what made the that if Amanda Nunes would have dusted her, obviously the thing.
I don't feel like Amanda actually fought that fight though, man.
Bro, it's these.
It's not to knock anything.
You gotta realize that these people are human, and it's possible.
Yeah, you have off night. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that.
So
I'm not knocking Julia Pena because I know that she trained for a whole year.
I'm never gonna say that someone loses the fight just to build up the next one. That you lost, and you lost. Yeah, it wasn't your night, and that happens.
Because I don't feel like she was there. Like the way I usually seen Amanda fight, if that UFC, fight, I didn't feel like that was Amanda.
If the UFC was the way that that like the NBA was, and there was a series of 7, you know that Amanda's winning that fucking series, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no way that Juliana's beating her 4 times out of 7. Yeah. So let's just put it that way. But no, I don't think that was set up like that. But Raquel Pennington versus the winner of those two, that could be an interesting fight. She's a OG in the game as well at this time. But Aspen Ladd, she'll bounce back as well, and you know, it'd be interesting to see who she fights next. Just she's been on a real uphill climb, and now fighting a veteran like Raquel Pennington kind of put her in a weird situation. But there's a lot of room for her to grow in the bantamweight division. After that, this is when me and you started watching the fights, which is this Anthony Hernandez guy. This was his first fight back like in 18 months. All I'm gonna say is that he looked very sloppy, but he was able to put out the win. And Josh Friedman, it was his debut. Just a very, I would say, pretty entertaining fight, but at the same time, very sloppy. Then the next one would have to be the main event of the prelims, you could say, which was Ian Gary, the Irish standout.
Yeah, he's calling himself the next Connor.
Yeah, I mean, because he's coming out of Ireland. And Darian Weeks was just there kind of standing with him, letting him do his thing. And I think that was the one mistake that Weeks made. He let him kind of establish that distance.
Establish the tempo, establish his fighting game.
There was times that I felt like
because Ian was one-dimensional, honestly. Like, he didn't have those combos. He was just,
he had a fucking snapping
basics.
Jab, bro. He had a really good jab.
Yeah, but just basics. I mean, he was sticking to basics.
Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, to quote the great Bruce Lee, he said, "Be fear man that practices not 1,000 punches, but one punch 1,000 times."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very.
Oh no, I give it to him. I mean, on that jab, it's very fast.
And his kicks were very fast. His kicks were establishing that distance, and I think if Weeks would have taken a little bit more of a risk and closed that distance, he could have maybe closed the decision more towards his favor. But Ian Gary did a great job doing there. He is now 9-0 in the UFC. This is 2-0 in the UFC, but 9-0 overall. And it's just going to be interesting to see where he goes from here at welterweight. There's a lot of fights at welterweight going up from there.
That division is stacked, bro.
Stacked. So there's a lot for him.
Stacked.
One of the main card though, we had also Kevin Gastelum that was supposed to fight. His fight got canceled twice. One because of a visa issue, if I'm not mistaken. The other one, I forget why. I think it was a COVID issue as well. The only one thing I want to say about this Mark Madsen fight, this guy fights in a very, I want to say,
The basketball player, Mark Manson.
No, this guy's from Denmark, and he was claiming that he could be the next champion.
I mean, everybody's gonna.
And I was looking at this fight, and I was like, nah, bro.
In reality,
I was like, first of all, the lightweight division is too stacked, and the fighters in the lightweight division are way better than this guy. I was like, nah, bro, there's no way. And the fact that he couldn't even, finish his opponent, like he was struggling with that guy, and I was like, yeah. There's no way, bro.
The funny thing about that guy is like his middle name or like his nickname, whatever, is from hell. So it's like,
his opponent,
Vince from Hell, Pichel. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, and then he walked out to the Highway to Hell song. Yeah.
Okay, but then Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres. This one was pretty
entertaining,
a good fight. Even in the press conference, she was talking about how she wasn't gonna. Oh, I'm not gonna let her take me down. This is that. Well, she got taken down. She got put in a bad position, but she weathered the storm.
Yeah,
and Mackenzie.
I loved how Mackenzie mounted her, and made her basically exhaust her legs because she was carrying Mackenzie and defending at the same time. So the fact that you're carrying Mackenzie and defending becomes a very difficult thing to be doing.
Yeah.
So that was very entertaining to see.
And that fight right there, in a very weird position now. I want to bring up the UFC rankings real quick. Give me 1 sec.
Nah, but Tisha Torres, I mean, she's been doing good. I just don't think she did enough for this one. I mean, she had opportunities where she caught,
that put her
Dern sleeping, but
that put her down to number 7, and Mackenzie Dern is now number 5.
Oof.
So Mackenzie Dern, she needs to fight. I'd like to see her fight someone like this would be a big step for her, but Carla Esparza would be a good fight for her.
She's fighting, isn't she?
Anybody above her besides
Esparza's fighting soon, isn't it?
I need to look that up.
Huh. Yeah.
But I do know that Zhang Weili is gonna fight against. This is gonna sound weird, but against the unranked Joanna Jędrzejczyk, because she is currently not ranked.
When you were like unranked, I'm like, bro, they're putting the number 1 contender against an unranked.
Yeah.
But then when you said Joanna's name, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Exactly. So with that being said, it's going. That's what we have next in the strawweight division, while Rose Namajunas waits for that next contender. So yeah, I think Mackenzie Dern against Carla Esparza, but I'll have to check if she has a fight lined up.
I believe so, if I'm not mistaken. I did hear something about Esparza fighting. And a card coming up.
Let's check it out. Oh, I think she's actually supposed to fight the champion next.
If I'm not mistaken, I know.
Fight Namajunas next, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I know that she has an upcoming fight.
Yeah. I think that is what's coming up next.
Yeah, I believe it's in summer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or it could be sooner.
Yeah, next UFC 274 next month, basically.
Oh, next month, yeah.
Gage
So it's right around the corner.
So Rose Namajunas is not waiting. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Carla Esparza will be fighting Rose Namajunas next month.
See, I had a feeling, bro.
Mackenzie Dern will have to fight Yan Xiaoyuan. I don't know how to say it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. She's the number 4th ranked strawweight in the world. Another Chinese, I would want to say. I want to say, let me correct myself right now, say Asian, because that could be correct. I mean, could be wrong.
Damn, bro. Butcher after butcher after butcher.
Okay. Here we are, though. So that's the strawweight division right there. The next thing that we're going to go to is the people's main event. And in my opinion, the fight of the night.
Bro, fight of the night, bro. Amazing, bro. I think that was the fight that had me on my edge of my seat, bro. Like, that had my heart pumping, that I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I can't miss.
When I looked over at you, bro, you're laying back, bro. You're not at the edge of your seat. But we're talking about
I was not laying back,
and Khamzat Chimaev, y'all.
This fool, like I was on a bed laying back.
We were talking about the number 11th ranked versus the number 2 ranked Gilbert Burns versus Chimaev. And this was a good fight, y'all.
Yeah, no, this is what the people wanted. I mean, it was the people's fight, and definitely something we needed to see. I mean, especially because we've been seeing Khamzat lay out everybody. And, the question then becomes like, okay, if Khamzat's laying out everybody, is he going to be able to do that? And the thing that we noticed too about Gilbert Burns, when he's about to enter the ring, you can tell how nervous he was. You You can tell that he's scared, like he's nervous. Khamzat's very calm. He's having fun. He was sitting on top of the ring talking to Darren Till. And it was just interesting. Like once Burns felt the power and once Burns felt like, okay, this is what Khamzat is, I noticed that he kind of calmed down. He got more centered into the fight. But either way, man, it was a war. That thing was a war, man.
Yep.
And I mean, there's also a few moments where Burns drops Khamzat, which we hadn't seen, prior to this. We hadn't seen someone actually take a fight, to Khamzat. So this was a really good test. And it was very entertaining to see, man. But I also think this also solidifies Khamzat in a bigger way, But I also it might kind of exploit him as well. Now that people have seen him fight in a longer way, they might begin to see chinks in the armor.
Yeah, but at the same time, it gives him a lot to adjust and
oh, definitely, so because now he actually got a challenge.
If people think that he's not,
he's gonna rewatch this fight and try to improve on it, definitely, and he's got to, because people are gonna be looking at this fight and trying to see like, okay, like where's his weaknesses at,
Yeah, exactly. So I think that if people will be greatly mistaken to think that just because Gilbert Burns fought him that way that they'll have the same success, especially after the win. The people who are gonna be lined up with him, like Kobe Covington,
bro. First of all,
Leon Edwards,
Burns was struggling. Burns was struggling. Like it wasn't like it was an easy fight. No, Burns was struggling, man. I saw Khamzat pick up Burns like nothing, bro. Move him like nothing. I was like, whoa, that is scary, bro. Because Burns is he looks like a bigger, solid dude compared to Khamzat, but you're just seeing him like pick him up like he's nothing, bro, and move him around, and you're like, whoa, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what happened there. So it's gonna be interesting what fight gets lined up for him next. But then what I could say next that happened was Sterling versus Jan. What do you think about that, man? And give me your opinion.
I mean, the first round, I give it to Jan. There wasn't much activity from Sterling, but then you have Jan's plan get developed in the second no. What was it? Yeah, the second and third. Yeah, second and third, you see Jan's plan come out, and he just dominates him, man. He dominates him on the ground. He controls the cage. He controlled the cage for about almost seven.
Talking about Jan or Sterling?
I mean Sterling. Sterling, yeah. Yeah.
I was like, Sterling, Jan got no takedowns.
No. He had 0 takedowns, 0 takedown attempts. Sterling, he had 22 takedown attempts, and he successfully got 4. So yeah, you did see that he controlled them. He controlled them, and when he did that, it was really good, man. It was really good to see that he was able to control him. But then you get to the fourth round, and you see the things start to tip over, start to change. And then you get to the 5th round, and again, Jan switches it up again. So the fact that you're able to see like Jan do that, I don't know. For me, I think Jan dominated it standing up, but I know the judges are gonna go with Sterling because he dominated on the ground, and what you're seeing when you see that much domination on the ground, that's the thing you're gonna remember.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
And even Dana after the fight was like, I believe that should have been the other way. Like. And that's just because, like I said, when they were standing up, Jan just dominated that.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is at some point they're gonna fight down the line again. But I think that right now we had TJ Dillashaw in attendance. He got called out by Sterling, and that's gonna be the next fight to make because he fought against Sandhagen, beat Sandhagen. He got injured, so he wasn't able to fight against Jan for their interim title. But now he'll be able to fight for that main title, and I think honestly, regardless of what people will say, because of he had his steroid scandal and everything, I think he still comes in and beats Sterling because he has good wrestling. I think he comes in and he even beats Peter Yan because he has pretty good striking. and he was able to knock out Cody Garbrandt, who has excellent striking, and put Cody Garbrandt on the downward spiral that he's on.
That's the one Jan beat, right? Cody?
No, he beat
Sandhagen, right?
he beat Sandhagen.
He beat
Jose
Sandhagen.
Aldo. He beat Uriah Faber.
Yeah, no, but the fight that I have fresh in my mind is the Sandhagen fight where he just dominated standing up.
Yeah,
and that's why people were thinking like, oh, he's gonna do that to Jan. But yeah, no, you can tell that Sterling changed up his whole plan. From their first fight to this second fight.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's what's gonna happen there. And then Ray Longo is his coach, and he's coached people like Matt Serra beat GSP. He coached Chris Weidman to beat Anderson Silva. So a lot of these different.
So you can say that he can see the chink in the armors and how to exploit them.
Yeah, had a plan for them, how to solve the puzzle, if you will. So that's basically what happened this weekend with that in the bantamweight division, men's bantamweight division. And with that, like I said, I think that's gonna be the next fight. TJ versus Sterling. Jan, it puts him in an interesting position here. He's either gonna wait for that and then probably get a rematch, or fight the winner of who wins for the title. And then after that, let's look at that. Let's look at that bantamweight division of the men's round. Actually, after they refresh it, obviously on a Monday. Joe versus Peter Yan, they can easily run that back. As far as I know, people will be like, "Damn, he got fucked up last time." But
yeah,
Jose Aldo's been on a streak himself, and I think he has deserved that rematch, especially after Peter Yan coming off of a loss. That'd be a good fight to make, because Jose Aldo, the way he's fighting and being number 3 ranked bantamweight in the world, I believe he can become champion again, and I believe he can go and beat Jan. I think he can go and even beat any of these other guys ahead of him, TJ Dillashaw or Sterling. So I think those are the fights to make next within the bantamweight division.
We'll see. I mean, TJ might keep the belt.
No, TJ's gonna. I feel like he's gonna fight for the title next. But Jose versus Peter should be the next fight to make.
I mean, Sterling did call him out after the fight.
Yeah,
so that's already set up. That's already gonna happen.
That's gonna happen for sure. That'll happen sometime I'm assuming like October. That'll be the October card.
Yeah, but I think TJ can take it away from him.
Yeah, easily.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think Jose can take it from TJ.
We'll see.
Jose, I feel like can do the same thing that Glover Teixeira did and become a champion in the latter part of his career. But just to end this UFC talk, honestly,
most boring fight at the main event.
Disappointing with you.
Most boring fight. I would say that I spent the majority of my time on my phone. The reason being is that Volkanovski, like, he's not entertaining to watch. I had more fun watching him fight Brian Ortega, but just because Brian Ortega was doing crazy things in that octagon.
I mean, even when Ortega fought Korean Zombie, it was a much more entertaining fight.
Oh, definitely. Like, this fight just fell flat, man.
Yeah, and
it's like it's the main event, it's the main card, and it just fell flat, dude. My question is, because I know that Cejudo already put that out there, where he's already said, like, Dana, let me come back in and I'll fight Volkanovski. Do you think that would be entertaining?
I think so.
If Cejudo came back,
because looking right now at the featherweight division, first and foremost, Max Holloway and Alexander have to run it back. So I think
that would be their third time, right?
I think they should run it back, because I think at some point it's a 1-1, and they need a rubber match. I know on paper it's 2 for Alexander, but in my opinion it's 1-1. I could even make the argument that Max won both fights, but I'll say 1-1. So they need to run that fight back. And we'll see where that goes. Max Holloway's coming off of a win against Yair Rodriguez. He did pull out of the fight, which put in Chan Sung Jun, the Korean Zombie, in for the title contention. But I honestly thought he should have fought Yair Rodriguez, but maybe he was still kind of fucked up off of the Max Holloway fight. And it makes sense because those guys went to war in that fight.
Yeah. Fought really hard in that one.
So yeah, if Cejudo does come up and fight, I think that it is entertaining, because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to give him his due, but he's a champion. He's a champion in 2 weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Olympian. a gold medalist at that. The only one in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Someone else could have entered the UFC by now to be a gold medalist, but if I'm not mistaken, he is the only gold medalist in the UFC.
Did Daniel Cormier didn't get
He's
gold?
like a silver medalist or bronze.
I know he was Olympian too.
Yeah, but not gold medalist. He's like the only one. That's why he does the whole triple C shit because he's the only one that has that gold medal. But yeah, I think he presents an interesting fight because he has the complete package. In his last fights before he retired, he showed a good amount of better striking. His wrestling has always been good. So I think he presents an interesting challenge for Alexander. Alexander obviously still is the bigger fighter, but I think it's a fight that's worth making. They asked him about it today, and Alexander was basically saying that that the only reason he's talking about is because at this point he's called him out, and he's actually getting himself back in the USADA pool, which is something that which was something that he said, you're calling me out before, but you can't even fight. But now that he's getting back in the testing pool, I think that it makes it for a more serious conversation. But yeah, that was a featherweight fight for this weekend. Something that's going to affect what happens in the welterweight division with Khamzat and all this. And all this is going to be next week when we have Bilal Muhammad fight versus Vicente Luque. And from what I understand, they fought before, and I think Bilal Muhammad won. I'll have to look this up real quick. 2021, 2020, Vicente. They must have fought very early on because for some reason I saw that they put 2 next to this fight night, and I'm like, they fought before. I'm going back all the way to 2016. Yeah, they fought. Okay,
that was his first fight.
And Bilal
into the UFC.
the fuck out in the first round.
Yeah.
Now I have to look that up. Point is that they're about to fight it, run it back. And right now, as it stands, in the welterweight division, Bilal Muhammad is number 5 ranked, and Vicente Luque is number 4 ranked. So we have the 4-5 matchup right here. I think Vicente Luque has a striking upper hand. Bilal Muhammad is more of a grind down wrestler type of fighter. So I think if Vicente keeps the distance and is able to really put some damage on him, he'll win this fight, and I think he can knock him out again. I have to look this up right now because I'm very interested now. Vicente Luque was the last guy that fought Tyron Woodley. Do you remember that fight, Manny?
Yeah, I remember that. No, Vicente Luque has been doing good in recent fights. He's fought a few times recently. Let's see this knockout though. This was back in 2005, right? It said
no, 2016.
2016.
Yeah,
because that was like right when it began.
That's the trip. This Northman was getting promoted during the fight, and then here it is on their YouTube.
Well, of course they got to do it. It's all promo.
It's all connected. Shout out to Enzo,
man,
who's not with us today, but he'll be back next week. Let me see when he knocks out. It's this one.
If it loads. Ooh, he dipped. Ooh,
super necessary.
Ooh, go back on that. I want to see that dip though. It's because he dips.
Because he was probably trying to go for a takedown.
Yeah.
Oh, it went back too much.
He dips like. Yeah, see there. Boom.
Yeah, look like
he
a level
dips.
change.
He dips and he leaves his guard down. The first thing you're not supposed to do is put your guard down from your face.
He was that check left hook.
Yep.
And that's that. Luque is actually an orthodox. Or actually, yeah, he was an orthodox position.
Damn, dude. Yeah.
He already caught him with the straight left.
Yeah.
Straight.
Bam.
Look. And then bam, 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 bam. That was hard.
But it's straight down the middle too, man. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. That's freaking insane.
Yeah, so that's what's gonna happen next week on the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Glad we don't have like a week off or anything, because I hate when that happens.
Well, that happened a week ago.
Yeah, I hate it when we have like something in between, because it's just, or nothing in between, because it's just gotta wait for a long ass time. And I like these fight nights because you see a lot of up and coming fighters that are are hungry and trying to really demonstrate what they got. So That's what we got for next week. But we're gonna talk about the end of the NBA season. Obviously, the regular season. We're going into the play-in tournament first. Then we're gonna go into the playoffs. But to go to the top of the news, which is the Laker news, Frank Vogel is no longer the head coach
Fired.
of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Fired.
Or how would Vince McMahon say it more?
You're fired.
They were like, fuera!
Or like how Donald Trump would say, "You're fired. You're fired." I don't know how the fuck.
They let him go, man. Are they gonna fire Rob
Fired.
Pelinka? That's the real question.
Nah, he's on the hot seat.
When
Though.
are they
Nah,
fired?
bro. That fool should be fired, bro.
He's on the hot seat.
When?
Nah. I like
the
your
hot
thinking,
seat.
Byron. I like your thinking, bro. Because
Soon.
that fool should be let go.
Lego.
Let go. Bro, did you see the Russ exit interview? How he said
He's
that?
like, I don't know what Frank Vogel had against me.
Yeah, what he had against me, and then also he said that that AD and LeBron said that they would let Russ be Russ. He's like, yeah, that's what they said.
Boy, they did in a
Like-
sense. They kind of did say that.
Yeah, but he was saying like, yeah, that's what they said, but it kind of insinuates like, no, they didn't let me be me. So I mean, that's interesting to hear from him, bro.
Yeah.
For him to say that, and I was like, oof.
Yeah. So to unpack that a bit more, the Lakers, since it was the last game, they had some exit interviews for the end of the season,
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
and at the moment, LeBron, when he went on his interview, they hadn't officially let Frank Vogel go. So when they asked him, he's like, I don't know nothing about that shit. She ain't told me shit. He said.
Mhm.
So what I would have to say is that
Bro,
Frank
the fact
Vogel-
that they asked Frank Vogel to his face after the game, bro. They're like, hey, did you know that you're fired? And how does that make you feel? And he's just like, I don't know anything about that. I just want to be happy for the guys for their win. Oh my God, dude. That's so horrible. Like, it's so horrible to be asked that question, bro, and you don't even know that you just got fired. Like, I'm like, that's crazy, bro.
But at the same time, bro, like no one's stupid. He knows that shit was coming.
Oh,
And
yeah.
look, this is to say that if I'm making a blame pie, Frank Vogel maybe gets. I'll give him 10% at most,
Mhm.
because it's not his fault that the roster was constructed the way it was.
That's Rob Pelinka, bro.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying,
And
bro.
also that also goes to LeBron and company for allowing this trade to go down and not
yeah,
for
for approving it.
not letting the brass, not approving the brass to go for DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield if that's what's being
Mhm.
said out there, and things like that.
Well, DeMar already said that there was already a deal that he was on his way.
and I think that the
So-
biggest blame that I could give to some point, it's shared between Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss. And the reason I'm gonna say those two names is because she empowered Rob Pelinka. And another thing is that whenever Frank Vogel, the reason Frank Vogel is the coach, first and foremost, is because whenever they were looking to hire coaches, they were about to hire, what's his name, Tyronn Lue. They were about to hire either Tyronn Lue or Monty Williams. And the reason that they didn't want the job was because the Laker front office wanted to choose the
team,
not just
the players,
team.
the roster.
No, they're gonna the front office is most likely always gonna do that. They wanted to choose their coaching staff, which each coach they have the right to choose their own staff, bro. It's their staff,
Yeah, they need their system in play.
But when that first season happened, they're like, we're gonna choose a coaching staff because we feel like Luke Walton had a weak coaching staff, and we want to make sure you have a strong coaching staff. So they brought in Jason Kidd, they brought in Lyle Hollins, they brought in all these former head coaches that, in a sense, at first sight, it put everybody like, oh shit, he fucks up. There's other people that could take his job easily. But that season they won the championship. And I think it's credit also to the way that the roster was constructed at that moment and all those things. But the moment that season ended, everything just lopsided. They didn't re-sign Dwight Howard. They didn't re-sign JaVale McGee, which I think were the two biggest things for us, because then we had no backup for
they lost
AD.
Rajon.
They lost Rajon Rondo. All those things, which I think we could have lived without Rajon Rondo because we had Caruso and company. But losing those two bigs, I think, was a big thing because they put a lot more strain on AD. And knowing that AD is injury prone, you should give him some more depth.
Yeah,
and we will have him for more games.
You bring Andrew Drummond, who's not a bad center, but also didn't come in on time.
No, at all.
Like he couldn't adapt to the game. The paint was too clogged.
Yeah. So and I think the way that JaVale and them played, it was a lot more active compared to Drummond's tempo.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I
And
feel like
also
that's
you
what they
had
messed up.
Schroeder, who was also not doing that
That was
great.
trash.
Yeah.
And then after that we lose KCP, we lose Kuzma, we lose all these players that just it just lopsided things,
Yeah.
And I think that's where at the end of the
Well, yeah,
day,
you bring a lot of old people, but then it's like you can't even. There's not even enough time to implement a system, bro. And you expect all these vets to just plug and play. But yeah, the vets might have the experience to plug and play, but still, some of them haven't played together to like even know each other like that. So obviously, it's gonna make things more difficult.
Question: That guy, Kendrick Nunn didn't even play at all, right?
motherfucker never
No.
played.
Wow,
He got injured
Trevor
in the
Ariza
beginning.
got cut with 2-3 games left in the
and,
season. I don't understand why that happened.
That's we still have him on contract, right?
Who?
Kendrick Nunn.
I think so. I think Trevor
Yeah.
Ariza might have got cut because he might get picked. I think if you get cut, you can possibly get still picked up by another franchise going into
Gotcha.
so
Playoffs.
maybe that.
Well,
might happen, I'm not sure.
supposedly the idea was that if the Lakers would have made it to the play-in tournament, they were gonna cut him either regardless because they wanted to get a younger player to get on the roster. So he was already planned to be cut.
Yeah.
Regardless if they
Still, but it's just
made it or
weird to
didn't
cut him
make it.
2-3 games before the season starts.
Playoffs.
Before the season ends, yeah,
Mhm.
playoffs. So that's what happens. The Lakers ended the season with a couple wins. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then they beat the Nuggets to end the season.
Yeah.
And
they gave a what's it called, a 2-way contract to McClung.
Yeah.
Finally, and McClung was balling out.
Yeah, and I think that's good. We need him moving forward. We need that youth between him and Austin Reeves.
Oh,
and I hope THD also steps the fuck up this offseason. Or else
McClung had 35, didn't he? Or how many points? I know that he had, and then Austin Reeves had a triple-double, if I'm not mistaken.
And then THT had like 40 points in one of these last games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the Lakers, and we're going to discuss their coaching search and all that.
That's the next thing. Who are they going to give the coach? And then are they going to give that coach the ability to choose their staff?
Yes, that's the one thing that the Lakers, their next coach, that coach needs to be a very, how do you say it? He needs to be a coach that can be able to speak for himself.
Yeah.
And tell the
handle
front office,
personalities. Yeah.
Tell the front office, hey, you hired me to do this job. I'm gonna do my job.
Yeah.
Basically, because I think that's one thing that, in a sense,
I'm just tripping out that we could have had Monty, Vogel. Bro. I'm just tripping out we could have had Monty.
Bro, Jason Kidd could have been our coach, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's with the Mavs, about to coach them into the playoffs and shit. And I think those are a lot of things that, again, we fall on Jeannie Buss, fall on Rob Pelinka and whatnot.
Yeah.
But moving on from the Lakers, because we'll be talking about them as
the fact that people rather watch Winning Time versus the real Lakers.
Hey man, at the end of the day, look, the one of the most entertaining times for the Lakers just started, which is the offseason. So it's about to go down. But going into the play-in tournament, starting tomorrow, we have game 1 with the 8th seed Cleveland Cavaliers versus the 7th seed Brooklyn Nets. And then we also have the second game, which is what happened?
Brooklyn might take that.
Yeah, but Cavaliers, you gotta be careful because Cavaliers is a hard-nosed team.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Clippers, which is Byron's favorite team, versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
The what? The who?
What the fuck? Right now, bro, it's the Raiders and the Clippers. And the
I know.
That's the trifecta for him, bro.
I know I dislike the Clippers, but they could probably take that.
Nah, they can probably lose that, bro, because I don't think Paul George is. I don't think Kawhi Leonard's back or anything like that. And then they're gonna face Cat.
Yeah, Cat, and then Anthony Edwards.
Which I love that dude. I really
Anthony
like
Edwards. Balls out. Yep. He balls out.
So that's gonna be an entertaining game, but I think the Timberwolves gonna win. I think the Nets could win as well, like we're saying. But like you said, it's a 1-game playoff, and the loser
still has to go play the other loser.
Yeah, and so that's the way it's gonna work. So on Wednesday we have the next game, which is gonna be the Charlotte Hornets versus the Atlanta Hawks. I'm rooting for the Hornets. I'm not a big Trae Young fan, if I'm being honest with you, but I like LaMelo Ball. So let's go Hornets on that one. Jordan, hopefully his team gets into the playoffs right here. And then the game 4 is gonna be basically the two teams that knocked out the Lakers, the Pelicans versus the Spurs. So the loser of Cleveland versus Brooklyn will play the winner of Charlotte Hornets. No, my bad. Yeah, it will play So let me put it this way. Let me see this game.
It's the East.
Okay, so
bro.
winner
It's the
of
East.
Charlotte Hornets versus
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks plays the loser of Cleveland Cavaliers versus Brooklyn Nets. And then the winner of San Antonio Spurs versus Pelicans plays the loser of Clippers Timberwolves.
Exactly.
So the two teams that are all these four teams, the Cavs, the Nets, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the luxury of them being the 8th and the 7th seed is if they lose, they still have one more game that they can redeem themselves. Yeah. While the 10th and the 9th seed,
you're eliminated.
You lose and you're eliminated. Yep.
Yeah.
You win, you get to play the loser of the other two.
Yeah,
the 8th and 7th seeds.
you gotta go through 2 teams to get to the playoffs.
So yeah, and that basically is gonna then later on establish this I'm gonna show behind you, Manny.
Yeah, the bracket.
Yeah,
For the
so
viewers out there.
so eventually we'll get this all filled out. As it stands though, because I know that's already kind of set. Let me see the NBA just the standings right now. I believe the Suns ended first, right?
Yeah.
So in the Eastern Conference, we'll start with the Heat start
Heat.
off first. Then the Celtics, Bucks, 76ers at 4th, Raptors 5th, Bulls 6th.
Damn, the Bulls made it. Is Caruso back on that?
I think so. I'm not too sure.
Damn, bro. And Lonzo's still out, right?
We'll double check on that.
I believe Lonzo's gonna be out for the rest of the season.
Fuck.
I think I saw a post.
Damn.
And then the Suns are number 1 in the Western Conference, followed by the Grizzlies.
I wonder if Ja Morant.
I wonder as well.
Oh yeah, he is. I was watching sports yesterday.
I think the Grizzlies can make it pretty far.
Sick.
Yeah. Grizzlies, yeah.
And then the Warriors, we got them at the 3rd seed.
Yeah.
And then we have the Mavericks in the 4th seed, the Jazz in the 5th, the Nuggets at the 6th. Once we get this all sorted out after the playing, we'll go more in depth as far as how the matchups are going to work. Right now, we're not 100%.
Sure.
We do know that, for example, the Mavericks and the Jazz are going to play. That's the 4-5 matchup. The 3-6 matchup, Warriors versus Nuggets, they're going to play. The Grizzlies, that's the Grizzlies and the Suns. They're the ones that are waiting for their opponents.
We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the Eastern Conference, the Bucks versus the Bulls, and the Sixers versus the Raptors. So a lot of interesting things. And then this is another thing, guys. When it comes to the Lakers coaching, the 2 rumored coaches right now, or the 3, if you will, but the 2 I'm mentioned are the 76ers head coach, which is Doc Rivers, and
why?
Because he's one of those coaches that will push back against them, and I think he really needs someone like that. And the other coach is the Raptors coach.
I didn't like the way he coached the Clippers, though.
That's the Clippers.
Yeah.
That's the Clippers, and that's with Paul George and company. With LeBron and company, Clippers. I think is different. But again, Raptors coach also Jusuf Nurkic. No.
Nurse.
Nick Nurse, my bad.
Yeah, Nick Nurse.
I was thinking of the player.
Yeah,
Nick Nurse. He's also someone that's rumored that is probably a candidate that they're looking at, and then also Zach Snyder, which is the Jazz head coach. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's a former Laker. Like I think he played with the franchise.
Let's bring Donovan Mitchell.
We'll see what happens
That would be a crazy.
But now let's move on to football with some big news that affected Man United fans and CR7 fans. I want to start with that, man. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you want to go on the hot seat already, right?
Hell yeah.
Damn,
we still got the crowd, bro. Let's do it.
Woof. Damn. So this weekend, Man United faced Everton. They played horribly, as they always do. They played very horribly, and they dropped down from 5th place to 7th place. And at the end of the match, Ronaldo takes off his shin guard, and when he takes off the shin guard, you can see all the pokes that he has, and then he's bleeding from his shin. And he's walking away, and as he's walking into the tunnel, there's a kid who's filming him, and it's just a moment of anger. He's frustrated. They lost the game. He's very injured, and automatically slaps the kid in his hand, bruises his hand, breaks the kid's phone, and keeps walking. From what I've read this morning, they've been saying more things as the kid has autism, the kid that was filming him, and also too that there's a police investigation investigating the fact that Ronaldo did this. And then Ronaldo kind of put out an apology, but it's like not a great apology out there. Pretty bad. But we'll see how that continues to unfold.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something crazy just because like I compare it to when Connor did it to a fan, and this one like I think the one Connor did it to a fan, he like grabs the phone and throws it on the floor and breaks it. But in this one, like Ronaldo straight just smacks the shit.
No,
out of it.
he just bruises the kid. The kid's 14.
Yeah.
He's 14 years old, so
Pobre
it
thing.
sucks to hear that, bro. But I mean, in that moment, you're just heated, bro. You're just seeing red, you know. Ronaldo's not used to losing, you know, and he's not. He went to a team where like he just wanted to get out of a bad situation in Juventus because they didn't have, they were rebuilding and they couldn't pay him anymore. He went to a team where yeah they can pay him, but the team isn't that great, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, and then right now Man U is looking to bring in a new coach, and the same thing. How you're talking about the Lakers, that's the same issue that the Man U is going through. You know, they're trying to get a new coach, but the one of the coaches that is a potential. He's saying that if he becomes the coach, he wants all say in who they get and who they sell, because that's been the issue is that the front office of Man U buys players that Man U doesn't need, and then the coaches lose the players that they do need. So he's like, if I come in, I need, full power for me to actually do what I need to do and for me to rebuild it. So we'll see. I mean, if they're able to get that coach or if they're gonna get someone else and see how they rebuild. But I still think it's a rebuild is in soccer is usually like a 2 to 3 year project.
Yeah.
And you got to give that coach that time. The thing that sucks is just that, especially in the Premier League and in soccer, we want quick results as a fan.
Yeah,
We
and
expect
anywhere, bro.
we
Anywhere as a
expect
fan,
the
you do.
coach. You expect the coach to turn it around in a few months when like the project is long. You can't do it in a few months. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see who they end up getting and what ends up happening. Real Madrid ended up winning again this week, so far they're staying up ahead. Atletico Madrid ended up losing, so they went down, and then Barcelona is still up there. They ended up winning this week. I mean, they had a struggle versus Levante. They were tied until the very last minute, and they got lucky then in the very, very last minute. Barcelona was able to get their last goal and win the game 3-2. So, I mean, Barcelona has been doing really well. You've been seeing the changes. There is rumors and speculations out there of Lewandowski trying to come to Barcelona.
Yeah, I saw that today that they're pushing hard for that.
We'll see if he ends up signing or who they bring. I mean, this summer is going to be very crucial for Xavi because he's going to be able to get rid of the players that he doesn't like on the squad. And also he's going to be able to sign new talent. So it's a very crucial moment and see what he can, how does he prepare for Champions League football and how does he prepare, for the next season. At the same time, it's a very close race in Serie A. There are the first three spots, which, it's AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Napoli. They're all very, very close. They're off by like 1 point of each other. So, I mean, that's a very close race in that league. We'll end up seeing how they actually develop and who ends up winning it. German league, they're doing good. Bayern is, up ahead.
Bayern's up ahead?
Bayern.
Oh, I thought
Bayern.
was up ahead.
Bayern.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it, man. Thank you guys for being here.
No,
We
I have a quick
appreciate
question,
your time.
Manny.
What's up?
Actually,
Tell me
about them
about them.
putas Chivas.
Ay, no lo sé. No veo soccer. I don't watch
right.
Mexican soccer. I don't know how the Chivas are doing.
Neither does Bayern, bro.
You just wanted to ask that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. Them Chivas, I don't know, bro. And if I went for, man, I don't even know who I would go for.
Did you go for Querétaro?
Nah, bro.
He's one of them wild ass fans that do some wild shit.
I just know that America is like, I think one of their popular teams.
Yeah.
I have a friend who actually goes for that team.
You go for the Cholos de Tijuana, bro.
Or Cruz Azul.
Their logo is a dog.
Las
Cruz
Pumas,
Azul,
bro. Las
Pumas
bro.
is one that I would say, like, as a little kid, I did have a jersey of them, but I didn't even know that. That's what I was rooting for. All right, man.
All right, guys.
Hasta luego.
Have a good night.